Well, welcome to this video, and I hope you like it. If you do, click the like button, hit subscribe, and share with a friend. Yeah, I'm along that Slippery Rock Creek down there, and this is McConnells Mill State Park. I don't come here much because it's kind of touristy. This big guy here with the compound leaves and the berries that are about dead is, I believe this is Aralia hispida, Spikenard I think they call it, and nice little woodland type of goldenrod that has the flowers along the stem there, and kinds of ferns, all kinds of neat stuff here. Not sure if you can tell the difference, but that guy over there next to the log is a Canada yew. It's a lighter green. Then over there we got some hemlocks, a little bit smaller leaves, a little bit darker color. There's a lot of Canada yew around here, but yeah, interesting. Lots of little interesting plants. Very beautiful scenery. Just, I thought maybe it would be a little bit better since it rained most of the day up until around lunchtime, and it's still kind of overcast, but still kind of a touristy place. I couldn't even park where I wanted to park because, well, everybody decided to social distance their cars. There should have been room for me, but there wasn't, so I had to come down this hill and park by this bridge here, and bottomed out along the way. Hopefully my oil pan's okay, but see what else is along the bank here before I go down any of the other trails. Nice scenery at least. Okay, the other side of the road here. This here is a hemlock. This growing right below it is a Canada yew. Sometimes I call it a ground hemlock. It's usually fairly prostrate the way it grows. It can grow more shrub-like than this, but this is good because you can see them growing right next to each other, and you can kind of see the difference in the needles. Needles are flat. These are smaller than normal on this hemlock tree, but you can see the little white stripes on the bottom there make it look whitish, and these guys don't have it. They're light green on both sides. So at any rate, decent scenery, not too trashy considering the total number of people that come through here, but yeah, you can see how the Canada yew over here kind of grows. Little pieces of it popping up here, there, and everywhere. Anyway, moving on. I just wanted to show, people say that the reason why yew is in decline is because of deer. There's deer tracks in this mess down here. Kind of lost track of it a little bit, but there are deer tracks in this mud. Just rained, so a lot of them got washed out. Trying to find them again. Kind of lost my bearing. I moved off the trail, but at any rate, there's deer that come along here, and the yew grows right there, so obviously they're not wiping it out here. There's nice asters here. I think I might move on a little bit here, but yeah, it's kind of washed out from the rain, but there are a couple of deer tracks down there. Hopefully they show up on camera a little bit. See if I can find them again. It's kind of weird. I saw them from a distance, and now I'm coming closer. I don't see them as much. mostly people tracks. You can see all the little rain marks. Oh well, if I see them again, I'll point them out. There's a caterpillar on the bottom of a leaf of a basswood or linden tree. These are actually good greens if you're out in the woods and you want something to make a salad or just some greens to munch on. The leaves of this tree are kind of like spinach. But yeah, I don't see any seeds low on this tree. This thing has little nutlets for seeds. Maybe I'll go down there by the water, see if I can find any lower down since it arches out like that. You can see the ferns and rocks and hemlocks basically make up the hillside. I think I'm away from the people a little bit for the moment. But, and there's still, not right where I'm standing right now, but there's still a lot of that Canada yew growing on these rocks here. So, at any rate, moving on. Okay, here's some of the seeds. These little nutlets on these things here, and you can see they got kind of a wing up here on the overall branch that kind of catches the wind and either shakes them, or if this whole thing comes off, it'll blow a little ways with the wind. There's another one, maybe you can see it better. Has this little wing at the top and then the little clump of nutlets down here. But out here on a rock in the middle of the water. It doesn't look that bad, but people die in this creek every year. Not usually when it's down low like this, but in the spring, that current grabs people that slip and fall in and wedges them up under these big ass rocks along here, so pays to be careful. Lots of webworms here. But anyway, moving on. And unfortunately, our native clams are pretty much all endangered species, but you'll see a bunch of these little shells along here from this invasive Asian clam. And brought them over here with the pet trade apparently, and a gazillion of them out there. You can see another one. All these little white things are mostly little clam shells. So, at any rate, nice mushrooms. Here's some sedum or stonecrop growing among the moss on the rocks here. Lots of mushrooms. Most of them look past their prime. But moving on, see what else I can see. Lots of wild ginger. Heart-shaped leaves. Has these little roots running under the ground here. Smells like ginger. You can use it like ginger. Most places you don't see enough of it to make it reasonable to be, you know, picking it and taking it home just to eat it. If you can get a patch growing in some woods behind your house or something, it might be worth using for a spice, but other than that, I wouldn't really be taking it from the wild. Some more ferns. Here's another one of these yews. I've been looking, trying to see if any of these got any berries on them. I haven't noticed any yet. The berries are usually dangling from the underside of the branches. It's the only edible part of the plant. They actually taste pretty decent, but you can't eat the seed. Yeah, I don't see any to show you, but Yeah, considering they're fairly rare, it'd be cool to spread a few seeds, but cool. This would be Oxalis. It's related to shamrocks. Has little purple flowers earlier in the year. Let's see what else I can see here. There's a lot of downed trees here. But at any rate, moving on. It's nice seeing the trees growing on the rocks like that birch there. It's a yellow birch, but they've got small seeds and they've got small seedlings. They don't do real well in like an oak forest where they get covered over with all the leaf litter and stuff. So they tend to grow on rocks and logs and stuff that stick up above the leaf litter. Hemlocks kind of do the same a lot. You'll see them on what they call nurse logs, and sometimes the logs will rot away and it'll look like the tree's standing up on its tippy toes. But at any rate, keep moving along. Now I'm at this little side creek. This is Breakneck Falls coming down here. It's a little bit farther upstream, the actual falls, but you can see the trees growing on the rocks everywhere is kind of a theme. Yeah, there's a bigger waterfall farther up. I can't really negotiate it with the camera, but I'll try to get a little bit closer here. Yeah, the water just goes through all these big boulders and then makes it out to the main slippery rock creek out there. So, yeah, very interesting roots coming down off of the rocks, supporting these hemlocks and yellow birch mainly. And I'll go up this way a little bit farther. I don't know if I'll cut back to the creek or not. Instead, it's hard trying to ascend from this side or from the middle of the creek here, but oh, there goes a frog. Don't know if that was caught or not, but just giving a look at more of these big rocks and tree roots. Let's see what some of this stuff is. This guy here is a mountain laurel. This guy with these little leaves here, it's a mountain laurel. Kind of shreddy bark, but yeah, I'm gonna stop filming so I don't kill myself, and I'll go a little farther along here. Not sure exactly where the trail goes. I know there's some rocks up ahead where people do rock climbing, and there's more Canada yew there, but very interesting scenery, but it's kind of doesn't change that much along here, at least not in this little section. So moving on, just more of the waterfall. falls just down there. And there's more of the falls. We're getting near the top. But, yeah. At any rate, I'll see if I can get a little closer here. It's kind of rocky going. Nice, very coppery yellow birch with the sort of shreddy bark here. Sometimes they look a little bit grayer, or they might be confused with a sort of a lighter barked cherry birch, but these guys are a little bit different in the way the bark shreds, as well as the coloration. You can also get wintergreen oil out of this, but not as much. So they're not quite as wintergreen tasting or smelling as the cherry birch, but it is noticeable in there. And this bark's good for starting fires even if it's wet. So nice moss on these tree covered rocks, little indentations. Some of these are like conglomerate rock, where they had little pebbles embedded in the larger rock that fall out, and it'll be kind of pockmarked. At any rate, moving on. Okay, you can even see the bridge up there a little bit. This is the main part of the falls here. You see the big overhang over there and everything. So I'm standing kind of precariously down here. There's a little bit of a ledge here over these rocks, but I'm basically standing on a log jam here, so it seems solid. You can see the cliff continuing that way. Farther down the cliff, as people go rock climbing. But yeah, that's the main part of the falls right there. It's all showing up good. But at any rate, I'm going to turn the camera off now. I'm kind of precariously perched on a log right now, so hopefully this isn't too wavy. It looks still in the viewfinder, but I know my leg's wavering a little bit balanced on this log. But moving on. So there's the spot where I was just standing on top of all this crap here. Like I said, it seems pretty solid, but yeah, if you step in the wrong spot, your foot can pop through all that build-up sediment and leaves and stuff between these logs, and it's actually, I'll back up a little bit here. Can't zoom out when I'm actually that close and there's no zoom, but you can see it's a pretty deep stack, so yeah, I didn't want to adjust my my footing and pop through and be thigh deep in water and muck and trapped in a bunch of logs. So, at any rate, yeah, you can't really see the falls from here, but all right, moving on a little bit. Yeah, nice little cave under the rocks here. You can see all the Canada yew hanging off the rock, and some of it's hanging all the way down. Yeah, it's got to be 15 feet at least down towards the ground here. Try getting a little closer. It just rained, so I don't want to slip and kill myself, but yeah. It's been a drought year. Just started getting some rain again recently, so even though it's kind of wet and slippery right now, a lot of the plants aren't looking so good. Still don't see any berries on any of these guys yet, but it's been a rough year. See what else I can see. I don't know whether I can go up that way or not. Falls aren't as impressive when you're on the same level as the falls, but maybe I'll go up that way. So here's what the falls look like from about the same level. If it was drier, I could scoot over there. There's a little bit of a ledge going along there. Should be able to get there, but not worth the risk when things can be a little bit slippery. And obviously somebody decided to come here and paint all the rocks. Actually surprised there isn't more of it. People suck. Not sure what the hell that's supposed to be. It looks like an eye. Frowny Pikachu thing, and please be something half covered in moss. So that's been there a while. And there's something over there also half covered in moss. And get another look at the that yew growing there. But yeah, try to get down to that level again without killing myself and see what else I can see. At least it being a little bit slippery and treacherous, it's a little less crowded over here. Nice little cave going up in there. Not big enough for me to want to try exploring it, although I guess I could crawl in there on my belly, but so it goes back in there a ways. You can see the cliffs there. But yeah, not too much different along here. It's all rocks and yews and hemlocks and ferns and moss. I mean, it's a beautiful landscape, just not quite as much variety. This was like a beech seedling here. And kind of vaguely see Slippery Rock Creek down there. Got a little bit farther along this trail. See if I see anything. If not, I'll turn around and go back. Got a couple of Linden seeds on this trip at least. And see where somebody slipped there a little bit. It's not too bad along here. Not as bad as I thought it would be. Oh, here's somebody different. Here's a should be a cranberry bush viburnum here. Too small to have any berries yet. Yeah, sometimes this clay-rich soil can be like walking on axle grease, so trying to make sure I don't bust my ass. Nice beech tree here. See all those exposed roots there. But yeah, this is, I think this is already over to the section where people do the rock climbing, just this little section here. People have fallen and gotten hurt here. Not sure if it's that particular section or not, though. Yeah, just more of the same. Maybe I'll go back, cross over onto the other trail, and see if there's anything interesting there besides people. On the other side of the creek is the North Country Trail. Less treacherous, more people. But just follow Slippery Rock Creek in this section. But yeah, that bridge over here at the top falls is where I wanted to park, and just everybody decided to space their cars almost a parking space apart, so where you can normally fit 6 or 7 cars, you can only fit 3 when they park like that. So it's either that or just parking in a big mud hole. But yeah, I'm gonna try working my way back. See what else is there. You guys notice this guy? I think he's a winterberry. I don't see any berries on that branch. There's some on the upper branches here, not many. But yeah, it's a member of the holly family. Can't remember the scientific name off the top of my head. Nice yellow birch out there. Yeah, there's a couple of them here. But like most hollies, they have male and female bushes, so only the female will have berries. The other ones just have, the male ones just put out pollen with their flowers and don't form a berry. So it looks like more of them going down slope there. But at any rate, moving on. It's a gnarled, beat up yellow birch over there. And it kind of looks like the top got knocked down or something. But at any rate, he comes all the way over up above me here. Here's what the leaves look like. They're they're fine, toothy, but it's got fine teeth, and you can see it's like it's got bigger teeth, and the big teeth have fine teeth on the big tooth, so that's double serrated. These are next year's flowers right here. And then over there, I'll see if I can bring it closer, but those are the seeds from this year already starting to disperse. And then next to me here are actually growing on this rock. This is a sycamore, you can tell by the bark and the big sort of maple leaf shaped leaves. And then move him out of the way. You can kind of see out there, I'll try zooming in if I can without getting too out of focus, that we've got some of those little dingle balls out there. Those are the seeds for the sycamore tree getting ready to disperse. So, at any rate, I'm doing this. It told me to charge the battery a second ago, so I did. But while I'm still here, if you can look and see the current going past the rock, and then there's that calm spot. If you're fishing, that's where you want to go at, right behind that rock. Because you got to figure, if you're a fish, you can sit there where the current's calm and wait for the current to bring food past you. So, just wanted to point that out. Another little riffle there, and then there's this little calm bay over here. Same thing with this rock here. But at any rate, probably go on ahead and move on now. Hopefully the last piece I shot comes out. On the way back towards the car, I'm seeing a lot of the more of the yew. But this here, these compound, very toothy leaves. Sometimes the end leaf looking almost like it's 3-lobed. But this is black cohosh, and these are the seeds. A little bit bug-eaten and everything. And these guys over here, I'm not sure. This might be, call it Clintonia. Or it might be blue cohosh, but it looks short for that, so I'm just not seeing enough of. Actually, it does have some sort of leaves here. Yeah, it's not Clintonia. Maybe it is blue cohosh. I'm not sure how much left of them for identifying it. But at any rate, moving on. Okay, it's more showy in the spring when it flowers, but this stuff right here is sharp-lobed hepatica. There's also a round-lobed hepatica that looks basically the same, except for it doesn't have a point here on the end of the leaves. So they usually grow in soil. These guys seem to be running up this tree here. They'll often grow in shallow soil over rocks and stuff like that. There's another little guy down there, but for some reason they went up with that moss there. I guess they got enough substrate. But at any rate, moving on. Okay, this is burdock. This stuff right here is the leaves, different plant. And here's one. His leaves seem to have died back for the year, but this is what they look like when they go to seed. And these little things stick like Velcro to your clothes, so that's what it looks like when it's young and just leaves. Here's cut leaf coneflower, maybe? Some sort of sunflower or coneflower. And we got some asters over here and some goldenrod. But at any rate, moving on. Calico aster with the tiny little flowers. I don't know why I like them so much, but yeah, they have a ton of flowers. And there's some pale jewelweed. That's the normal yellow variety back there. I don't see any seed pods within reach. Maybe on this one here. Oh, I'm sure they're there, but I just don't see them. But this is what the flowers look like. Kind of neat. And they'll get seed pods. There's some immature ones, but when they get mature, if you touch them, they pop. Maybe the rain popped all the ones that were ready. Oh, here's one. So here's one here. Now watch, I'll touch it. And if I squeeze it a little bit, whoop, there it goes. See? There's the seed. Yeah, it ejects the seeds whenever something brushes against it and touches it off. Here's another burdock that's still got some of the leaves on them. They have basal leaves until they flower and fruit. So, at any rate, moving on. Okay, and I'm pretty sure this guy here, titling it, is a blue lobelia. So, anyway, moving on. A little bit different vegetation on the sunnier side of the valley here. There's wild lettuce that's going to seed. But, there's a different type of goldenrod too. A million different varieties of goldenrod. But see, these are the leaves of the lettuce. They'll have flowers. Some have blue flowers, some of them have white or yellow flowers, but finches like them. Alright, moving on. I forgot to mention this stuff with the white flowers and the toothy leaves. That's snake root. It causes milk sickness. If cows eat it, and then you get milk from the cows. And there's a really big wild lettuce over there. That thing's got to be 8 feet tall, but it's on the edge of a retaining wall, and I'm not walking out there to get closer. At any rate, moving on. It's a false Solomon seal, or some people call it Solomon's plume. A real Solomon seal has flowers and berries underneath. The false one has the flowers and the berries at the end and a little cluster here. So this one's got berries on it. Some others back there, but this is the only one I see with a decent amount of berries. Well, the one behind it got one, but at any rate, moving on. It's the shot of the creek and a little scan around over here. This is the south-facing slope, so much different. Both the trees and the understory, just because there's more light. It's less shady, so instead of the shade tolerant the user just about non-existent on this side of the creek, and even the hemlocks are a little bit more sparse. They've got a little bit more of advantage on the other side because they're very shade tolerant. Over here the hardwoods seem to dominate a lot more, but at any rate, And probably about it. If I see anything else interesting, I might stop at the top. I think I'm going to walk back to the car. Just running out of light to film anything anyway. Yep, up on top of the falls now. So this is what it looks like from the top looking down. I'm parked up here by the bridge. I think I'm now car number 5, fitting in less space than 3 cars were taking up before. Coming down here. Yeah, I was down there looking up before. So there is the falls. Looking down from the top. Not going to play around on these rocks too much, but it's an elm tree. Because I got the unsymmetrical leaves. These are a bit moth-eaten, so that guy's trying to find a better one. That guy's a little exaggerated. Usually one side comes a little bit farther down at the base, and then the rest of it looks pretty much symmetrical, very toothy. Should have little flat things for seeds. I don't see any on it. My best guess without going down there and getting closer to the bark is that this might be a slippery elm. Sort of fuzzy leaves, but there's an ash tree behind it. But at any rate, I'll poke around a little bit more before I go home. Kind of got overcast, so it's getting dark early. Bridge, you can kind of see the cars there. But yep, it's the waterfall. It's kind of in the way, but and there's the creek going upstream. Nice little valley to investigate in and of itself. But at any rate, moving on. Getting a little dark, but see, I'm obviously on what used to be a road, so easy access for a deer. And here's some more of that Canada U right here, right along the edge of the road. So obviously being eaten by deer is not the only factor in this stuff being fairly rare, because the places where I do know of it existing, it often exists in places where deer can get at it. Although it tends to be on the north-facing slopes, it doesn't like sunlight. So I think that's a big part of it all. But it's often under hemlocks or pines or something like that, which also creates a lot more shade. But at any rate, moving on. Probably won't do too much else because it's overcast and getting dark fast. Mushroom. Probably a little bit past its prime, but a little bit bug-eaten. Nice big clump though. Yeah, stopped in a parking lot on the way out. The trunk's way over there through the weeds, but hopefully that shows up decent. This is a walnut tree that has the nuts right there, so hopefully that shows up well. I can zoom in a little bit. We'll see, that looks out of focus when I zoom in. There's the nutses. Oh. But yeah. At any rate, not much else up here in this parking lot. But moving on. I believe this guy here is what they call a birch cucumber. It's somehow distantly related to cucumbers, but it has little spiny, one-seeded fruit, and there's no real meat to the fruit. There's two kinds. I get the scientific names. One's Echin something or other. Echino is like Greek or Latin for spiny, and the other one's Sickos something or other, but one of them has a single fruit and one of them has a cluster. This guy here got clusters of flowers, so I'd say he's the type that has the clusters of fruit. So, and over there you can kind of see from a distance there's a really tall wild lettuce over there. It's like a talpa tree. Not native here, native farther west, but they grow everywhere. Has a little cigar-shaped fruits on it. They have little wind-borne seeds inside those pods. Big leaves, pretty flowers. They could be here from this thing being an old farm, or who the hell knows, but at any rate, I'll wander around a little bit more, work my way back to the car. This looks like another walnut here. Hoping to see some nuts down low enough, but not noticing any. But at any rate, moving on. And must be where everybody takes the burrs off of their dogs and throws them in the weeds, because that's a massive patch of burdock here. So this here is what the leaves look like, and then when they get older they send up a bigger stalk, and it just has all these little Velcro like things. They even want to stick to my fingers to some extent, but they stick to your clothes really, really good. And that's how they disperse their seeds, but there's a massive patch of them right there. But here's a taller one going to seed that still has some leaves on it, so you can see what they look like. You know, they're starting to turn yellow. But at any rate, that's probably it for this one. See you on the next one. Just have to include a little bit of this ride between the rocks here. Sometimes I think driving through these rocks is the best part of the trip. But I think there's a little bit more up ahead. There's the old mill off to the side, and then the mill parking lot. But at any rate, that's it for this one. See the mill and the dam a little bit there. Well, I hope you found that video informative. Hopefully it made you think, and please click the like button and subscribe if you haven't done that already, and check out the video that should be appearing somewhere around me here, and I hope to see you on the next one. Thanks.